to In My Mug episode 275 on Monday the 17th of February 2014. I am your host Stephen Layton. Welcome to In My Mug and welcome to the news. So let's make this news happen. The UKBC happened. It happened in Birmingham, as did the Brewers Cup. And for those who didn't see it on Twitter, I won. Well, I came first in the first round, so I now go through to the finals, which will be held at London Coffee Festival in April, the first weekend in April. I may have been trash talking a little bit while I was competing, though. Somebody recorded a little bit of crazy, stupid video that I was doing, because it's closed service, so nobody gets to see you. The judges don't get to see you. I did this whole thing on the photo for Instagram that I put up, but I kind of managed to win by about 30 points, which is a lot. I don't know how it happened. I'm very much looking forward to London Coffee Festival and representing in the final. So yeah. Speaking of the London Coffee Festival, if you want to come and see me perform in the Brewers Cup, you can send in a screen grab. You can send in an Ask Dale question. Dale, our resident barista who came second in the Superheat in the same barista competition thing, and he's going through to the semi-finals in London on the Saturday. You could choose to go and see him with the free tickets that you can win. So screen grab, Vine, Ask Dale. In fact, Ask Dale. I want an Ask Dale barista question this week, and if you send me a question to the normal channels, you will, and your question gets chosen, you'll get 2 tickets to London Coffee Festival on my guest list on your chosen day. And why don't we look at this week's winner, who did get the 2 tickets for the Coffee Festival on the day of their choice? Andy Reid, you need to let me know. Drop me an email with your guest name and which day you want to come. You can either come Friday and see me in the Brewers Cup. You can come Saturday and see Dale in the UK Barista Championship, or you can come Sunday and you can see the live In My Mug. But before we go any further, let's see Andy's Vine of the Week. Did an amazing job on that one. Like, he's thought about that one. I love that Vine, Andy. Love it. I cannot wait to see you at London Coffee Festival. So drop me an email with your guest name, and yes, you can get. And also, Andy, you also win the T-shirt that money cannot buy. So you're a double winner. And that was the fun-packed London Coffee Festival UKBC Brewers Cup winning news. So we're focusing back on Brazil this month, and today we're focusing on the varietal of Canario. So as I said, I'm focusing on Canario. Last week's Inglaterra was a Canario. This week's comes from Fazenda Cachoeira, but is also a Canario. Canario is a natural mutation of the Bourbon varietal. In a similar way to things like the Pacas or the Mundo Novo, it's mutated into, like the Pacas mutated in El Salvador, Mundo Novo mutated in Costa Rica, and this is Brazil's version. Breaking it down into simple terms, it's basically over time the plants evolve and change some of their characteristics. For me, this coffee plant gives a more intense cup varietal than a Bourbon. And I've tasted the yellow Bourbon, as we have on here, from Cachoeira, and it's like they've found 11 on the dial for the amplifier. The guitar sounds a little bit more. The acidity is a little bit more intense. There is a side effect and a bad side, that it's not as resistant to disease and pest, and is lower yielding than the Bourbon, which is already a fairly low yielding coffee plant. But it produces this super interesting coffee cup that I think it's an interesting coffee varietal, and it's always an interesting cup for it. So that was Focus On. So we should talk about this week's coffee. Coffee comes from Brazil and it comes from Fazenda Cachoeira. It is a staple. It is a big favourite of mine. This farm, it would make me sad if we didn't get this coffee's farm. And it sparked a massive change in what I thought I knew about coffee. I can remember the first time I've cupped it, and I know I've told this story in my mug before, but some of you are new. In fact, lots of you are new. So what happened was I cupped it, and my whole perception of coffee was changed. I remember phoning my wife up and saying, "Sarah, I just tasted milk chocolate," and she was like, "You always say you taste that stuff." I'm like, yeah, okay. But this was the one that I really got it. Gabrielle has become a really good friend, and when he doesn't have the court order against me, because I'm a bit of a fanboy, but because he's a friend, we always get access to the best of the crop, and this year and for the last 3 years we've had a European exclusive on this coffee, so very, very proud of that. Fazenda Cachoeira has been in the Carvalho Diaz family since 1890 and recently celebrated its 108th crop, so it's been around a little while. It's located in Sao Paulo state, but it's just 3 miles from Minas Gerais, which is the kind of coffee growing hub of Brazil for me. So I always actually think this is much more of a Minas Gerais coffee than a Sao Paulo. It has a really mountainous range. It's in the Sul de Minas region. It's located at an altitude of 1,100 to 1,250 meters. And Gabriel, who I've already said owns it, he's one of the top agronomists in Brazil. His family owns several farms which border each other in the area, and it is 417 hectares. Now, put that in context, a lot of the Colombians we were cupping recently, they were like 4 hectares, 5 hectares, and this is 417. And 165 of them are coffee. He also plants eucalyptus trees, just as Stephen from Inglaterra does as well, because Gabriel helps Stephen, and the group that he works with help Stephen with his farm, and they're not actually too far away. They're about 45 minutes away from each other, because it's very near to Pocos de Caldas. Gabriel takes social and environmental sustainability really seriously. The farm has a very kind of clever planting program, planting different species, making sure that there's a balance of trees, balance of natural habitats for animals living on the farm and for coffee. He's also really important that he looks after his workers, so he has a school, there's a club, there's a soccer field, football field. Why am I saying soccer? He calls it soccer, I call it football. He has 47 houses where the employees live, all with modern facilities. Wastewater is treated to avoid polluting the streams. The farm has a small hydroelectric plant in the waterfall, as Cachoeira means waterfall in Portuguese. And he's very careful to make sure that everything is looked after on the farm. Some of the trees on the farm are extremely old and they keep cutting back and redoing. So, it's just a model farm. When you go, you can go actually, because he's built a mountain biking lodge there, so you can actually go on holiday to Cachoeira. But it's like Disney World for coffee. There are so many photo opportunities. There are so many amazing vistas, amazing views. It really is quite special. The farm has lots of different varietals, but obviously this is the Canario varietal, and as we talked about in the focus on, Canario is something that's very it's right for that area. It seems to just kind of work really well. So we should look at our numbers. The farm is called Fazenda Cachoeira de Grama. It's called de Grama because some people tried to rip off the farm. It was so successful in the early 2000s. It's a pulp natural process from the Canario varietal. Comes from an altitude of 1,100 to 1,250 metres above sea level. Owned by Gabriel Carvalho Diaz and his family. The nearest city is Pocos de Caldas, and it is from the Magana region of Sao Paulo. So now it's time for us to go and do our amazing and interesting bit. Hello, there I am. I look really good there. That's because I am really good. We're zooming up. We're zooming into Google Earth, and there's the UK, and we're going across the Atlantic and going to the country of Brazil. Brazil is too big. I hate visiting there because everything is a long way away. But I am looking forward to visiting because of the World Cup. Have I mentioned about that in the past? Hey, but let's look at Brazil. So Brazil has the longest beach in the world at 7,500 kilometres. I couldn't even run that. And I'm really good at running. We're going down to Minas Gerais. Minas Gerais is where some of my favourite coffees come from. I kind of do love this area. Although, kind of saying that, Cachoeira actually isn't part of Minas Gerais. If you look, it's smack on the border, and it actually goes across. But you can throw stones at Minas from here. So there's the farm. Just below where that like drying patio is, the waterfall, which is Cachoeira in Portuguese, it means waterfall, is just below there. And there's an In My Mug I did a while back where I'm actually paddling in that waterfall. But we go down and we see there we've got drying patios, we've got the whole kind of houses that the workers live on. It's like a little village when you kind of get in there. It is a great farm. I really do love visiting there. But yeah, there we go. We're going to getting into that whole. This is the drying patios that we're outlining, and all of the outbuildings. It's it's really good. On one of the best Google Earths you can kind of get for a farm, that you can really see lots and lots of detail. But yeah, let's zoom back up and let's go up to there and let's go. That was the map bit. So I'm back. I'm going to dive straight into my espresso because I love this coffee. First thing that hits you is milk chocolate. It is so much milk chocolate. But it has this chewiness to it that reminds me really, really of like toffee. And you know I say about the acidity being turned up a notch? This is kind of like peaches that comes running through in there. It is an absolutely delicious espresso. So I'm going to dive into my cappuccino. I didn't do the Wheel of Death this week, did I? Oh well. I don't deserve the Wheel of Death this week. I've had a hard week. So that acidity disappears in milk very much, and it really is just caramel. You just get this melted, warm caramel taste that just is amazing. It really does work super well. We're going to dive into the brewed coffee. I'm doing a Chemex, for I am the king of Chemex. I have a crown and everything. So I'm going to dive into this. This coffee makes me very, very happy. It really does make me happy. It is sweet. It is smooth. It is caramel. It is milk chocolate. It is toffee. It is peaches. It is clean. It is phenomenal. It's an amazing coffee. And after those naturals that we had, so we had the San Sebastian and the Limoncillo naturals, this is so nice to be in this place, and it so shows how much different coffees can be. Send me your questions for Dale for next week so you can win 2 tickets to London Festival on my guest list. I have a guest list. Yes, send me your screen grabs still, send me lots of things. I want lots of things coming in. Not only will you win those tickets, you'll also win the t-shirt that money cannot buy. I am going to finish there because I am going to go and finish off this Chemex. And do remember, life is definitely too short for bad coffee.